Republicans in Congress just did something hilarious. Congressman Davidson from Ohio just proposed a bill that would have the National Institute of Health study Trump Derangement Syndrome. This is completely real, by the way, guys. Here is what Rep. Davidson officially said in his press release about the bill. He said, TDS has divided families, the country, and led to nationwide violence, including 2 assassination attempts on President Trump. The TDS Research Act would require the NIH to study this toxic state of mind so we can understand the root cause and identify solutions. Instead of funding ludicrous studies such as giving methamphetamine to cats or teaching monkeys to gamble for their drinking water, the NIH should use that funding to research issues that are relevant to the real world. So they made it very clear in this bill that it's not going to cost any extra money to do it. They're essentially wanting to cut spending from the methamphetamine cats, I guess, and the gambling monkeys in order to pay for this study. And here's the deal. I know that this just looks like Republicans are trolling Democrats, and they are a little bit. For certain, yes. But there's a lot more than that, in my opinion. I think Trump Derangement Syndrome is very real. I fully believe it's a mental illness, and I'm not joking about that. It's like an actual problem. I would love to understand it better. I want to know where it comes from, like what caused it. Was it the media? Was it social media? Was it a concerted effort from the Democrat Party? I think it was probably from social media. I mean, I think that's a good guess because social media is new and this kind of derangement is very new. We've never really seen it with any other politician, at least in my opinion. Maybe you can tell me in the comments below if there's been another derangement. The only other derangement I can think of really is Elon Musk derangement syndrome, which I actually think is very real, but obviously that's coupled with Donald Trump in the first place. So apart from that, I've just never seen such a visceral reaction from Democrats where every single thing that Trump does, they hate it so badly. And the only conclusion I can come to is it's because of social media and how people weaponize it. But I would love to learn, and I think it would actually be worth the NIH's time and money to do it. To Congressman Davidson's point as well, it's also reintroduced violence on a political level that I just don't think we've seen in a few decades. I don't think we've seen it. You can think of BLM, for instance, which was obviously in response to Donald Trump and MAGA, as well as the assassination attempts on Trump, which Davidson talks about in that press release. We haven't seen things like that since the 80s. I mean, we had Ronald Reagan, an assassination attempt on him. I can't really think of anything. And BLM, sure, there's been other racial, problems and conflict since then, but has anything been quite as destructive as BLM and the George Floyd riots? I'm not really sure. Again, you can let me know in the comments below if you think there's another thing. We really haven't seen that in the last 30 years, in my opinion. Now, we do again. I would love to know basically how we can get rid of all of that. That's all important because at the end of the day, I feel if there's Trump derangement syndrome today, there are plenty of other high emotion derangements for future Republican politicians. That's my theory because I think it's probably caused by social media. Just because Trump's the only one that's had it doesn't mean he's going to be the only one forever to have it. And I think it's personally very degrading to the social fabric of America. So again, I think it's worth studying because if there was a Trump derangement syndrome, maybe J.D. Vance derangement syndrome will be next if he's our president in 2028 or Ron DeSantis or Marco Rubio or whoever you have it. By the way, guys, it really is just a Democrat problem if you look at it. It's a Democrat problem with Republican politicians. In the last little bit, we've had Obama, we've had Hillary Clinton, we've had Joe Biden, we've had Kamala Harris. We didn't like them. As conservatives, as Republicans, we didn't like any of those people. Maybe a couple people did some crazy stuff, but there wasn't widespread derangement toward them for every little thing they did. It's just not really a problem the right has towards the left. It is a problem that the left has towards the right. This is a uniquely leftist problem. Speaking of the derangement narrative from the legacy media, by the way, this is Trump's approval rating right now. The narrative right now is that Donald Trump's approval rating is abysmal. That's what the legacy media would have you know. And so I want to show you the latest on Trump's approval rating as well as the economy, because that's mostly what kind of derives approval ratings at the end of the day. This is a Harvard-Harris poll. This is a very left-leaning poll, by the way. And most of you who've watched my show before, I tend to choose the left-leaning polls for most of them, especially when it comes to elections. And the reason why is because I don't want any naysayers out there. I want at the very least for something to be on the lower side of the Republicans or the conservatives, which I am. And so again, it doesn't do me a ton of good to do a poll that's just super high on Republicans in the first place. I want to show you the very worst And we know in our heads it's probably a lot better than this. So again, Harvard-Harris poll, the approval rating for Donald Trump, you can see right here, is 47%, which is quite good. It's really not bad. Again, Joe Biden was sitting at like 36% when he left office. A fantastic approval rating would probably be anything above 51%. So the fact that he's at 47% is pretty decent. You can see below that the net approval is he's very popular in immigration. Obviously, he's done a fantastic job. Foreign affairs, doing pretty good, +1. Where he's suffering a little bit is the economy, inflation, and tariffs. But the biggest thing you can see here is the economy is -2. It was -7 just 1 month ago. Speaking of the economy, you can see this graph right here. I think this is a really telling graph for Trump right now. The blue is the amount of people who think the U.S. economy is strong, and the red is weak. And you can see that Trump started out his presidency very blue. It did fantastic. And then you had all the tariff stuff, and it took a big dip. And it's pretty much stayed down the entire time until now. It's recovered, and finally, for the first time in a long time, it's in the green again. The blue is higher than the red. And I think that's indicative of his approval rating. Essentially, people saw the tariffs are going away. China's not going to be tariffed so heavily. He's made some fantastic deals in the Middle East. He even announced just today that he and President Vladimir Putin in Russia are wanting to do some deals. He's also done the mineral deal in Ukraine. A lot of economic decisions, a lot of lowering the tariffs. Upon announcing those things, this approval has gone way up. So Trump is actually doing quite well. The momentum is clearly with him. If he continues to lower the tariffs and fight the bureaucrats, it'll only go higher. Hey guys, I'm excited to announce that I'm rolling out my new Substack. One of my favorite things about this show is being able to interact with you guys, and Substack just makes that a little bit easier. I'm able to do live chats with you, Q&A, and overall just bounce political ideas off of each other. My Substack also includes a newsletter, so you can stay up to date on the news, my opinion, and analysis of it. Go check it out right now. It's completely free. Comes in your email. There's no download at all. Go check it out right now. The link is in the description below. Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, was speaking at an event this past weekend and literally said that he thinks black people are superior to anyone else. Here's the video.
Detractors that will push back on me and say, the only thing that the mayor talks about is the hiring of black people. No, what I'm saying is when you hire our people, we always look out for everybody else. We are the most generous people on the planet. I don't know too many cultures that have play cousins. That's how generous we are. We just make somebody a family member, right? That's just how we are. And so business and economic neighborhood development, the deputy mayor is a black woman. Department of Planning and Development is a black woman. Infrastructure deputy mayor is a black woman. Chief operations officer is a black man. Budget director is a black woman. Senior advisor is a black man.
Just remember that if the races were reversed and he was a white guy talking about white people and that, Chicago would not exist right now. It would be it would be oblivion. It would not exist on the map. It would be a burning ash heap like Minneapolis was after George Floyd. There'd be billions of dollars in damage. There'd be new grifters all over the place, and full books would be written about it. For leftists, this is just another Tuesday. That's what Brandon Johnson is basically showing. This is just another thing they say. They can be openly racist whenever they want. You'll notice throughout that, he kind of has this reference to we. He says we a lot in that. He's referring to black Americans. He doesn't even view himself as an American. He views himself as a black American. And this is why his approval rating is garbage. His approval rating as of today is about 14%. 14%, guys. I mean, think back to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was horrible. Really nobody liked him. He ended his presidency at about a 36% approval rating. This guy's is like less than half of that. 14% is nothing. No one likes him. Not even the black Americans that live in Chicago like this guy. And the reason why is because he is the mayor of black Chicago. He's not the mayor of Chicago, not just Chicago, the mayor of black Chicago. And this is why identity politics ultimately fails every single time. You saw it with Lightfoot, who was the Chicago mayor before Brandon Johnson, who got brutally lost her reelection. She didn't even get close. What identity politics does is it divides people. And again, why would you vote for someone who hates you? Why would you vote for someone who divides? If you disagree on policy, no problem with that. That's totally fine. If you're actively looking at Chicago as the mayor and saying, we, the black Americans, are better than all the rest of the people in Chicago. Why would you ever vote for him again? Brandon Johnson will lose re-election just like Lightfoot. 100% he will. And honestly, Chicago will probably elect someone just as bad as him or someone worse. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how the cycle goes. The cycle goes on and on in large cities like Chicago. On a national scale, though, the identity politicians are losing elections in waves. I don't think they're going to win another election. I think Kamala Harris tried to play that identity game a bit towards the end. I think it only tanked her even further. And again, if Democrats pursue it in 2028, they're in a heap of trouble. The left is a cult. I talk all about it in my book, A New Cult. You can check it out on Amazon right now. I talk about some crazy stories that I know you'll enjoy reading. I had a great time researching it and writing it. Go check it out right now. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel as well so other great patriots like yourself will see it. You can also watch the live show every day at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can check out another video right here.